How you all doing? Welcome back to another review, a classic game review, and this time it is Metro 2033, but not just Metro 2033, it's Metro 2033 Redux. Redux meaning basically a modern version of the original game that was released about a decade ago now, maybe a bit more than that, a bit less than that, but basically an update using modern graphics and so on. Let's just read the blurb so I can pretty much put it all in type for you. So, in 2013, the world was devastated by an apocalyptic event, annihilating almost all mankind and turning the Earth's surface into a poisonous wasteland. A handful of survivors took refuge in the depths of the Moscow underground, and human civilization entered a new dark age. The year is 2033. An entire generation has been born and raised underground, and their besieged metro station cities struggle for survival. The mutant horrors that await outside, also a factor. You are Artem, born in the last days before the fire, but raised underground. Having never ventured beyond the city limits, one fateful event sparks a desperate mission to the heart of the metro system, to warn the remnants of mankind of the terrible impending threat. Your journey takes you from forgotten catacombs beneath the subway to the desolate wastelands above, where your actions will determine the fate of mankind. But what if the real threat comes from within? Metro 2033 Redux is the definitive version of the cult classic Metro 2033, rebuilt in the latest and greatest iteration of the 4A engine for next gen. Fans of the original game will find the unique world of Metro transformed with incredible lighting, physics and dynamic weather effects. Newcomers will get the chance to experience one of the finest story-driven shooters of all time, an epic adventure combining gripping survival horror, exploration and tactical combat and stealth. All those factors. All the gameplay improvements and features from the acclaimed sequel, Metro Last Light, have been transferred to Metro 2033 Redux. Superior AI, that means they're a bit smarter, controls, animation, weapons handling and many more, to create a thrilling experience for newcomers and veterans alike. With 2 unique playstyles and the legendary Ranger mode included. Ranger mode is a very difficult version of the game. Metro 2033 Redux offers hours of AAA gameplay for an incredible price, or AAA gameplay. So let's just read a bit more of this blurb. It's quite a long one, but I think we should read it because it just gets you all the facts. So, game features. Immerse yourself in the Moscow Metro. Witness one of the most atmospheric worlds in gaming brought to life, with stunning next-gen visuals at 60 FPS. The horrors of the Russian apocalypse, blah blah blah. Equip your gas mask and an arsenal of handmade weaponry as you face the threat of deadly mutants, human foes, and the terrifying environment itself. Rebuilt and remastered for the next gen, this is no mere HD port. Metro 2033 has been rebuilt in the vastly improved Last Light engine and gameplay framework to create the definitive version of the cult classic that fans and newcomers alike can enjoy. 2 unique playstyles, Spartan and Survival. Approach the game as a survival horror, or tackle it with the combat skills of a Spartan in these 2 unique modes. The legendary Ranger mode returns. Dare you play the fearsome Ranger mode. No HUD, UI, deadlier combat and limited resources combine to create the ultimate immersive experience. This game is unique and brilliant in the FPS genre. It kind of has a feel of the Stalker games. So it's not just FPS where you shoot things in front of you. Also have brilliant atmosphere, you know, little touches like the spider webs in the abandoned tunnels. You get a little lighter you can flick and burn those. A lot of nice little touches, well observed. And this game was actually made by a design company, 4A Games as they are currently called. They were based in Ukraine before and after the war. Parts of Ukraine are still very rough, and I imagine there are probably some very poor parts still. So I think you get a sense of that in this game. It's obviously a game set in like a ruined subway, where people are just trying to survive on what's left, or what they can grow or collect in terms of animals. Everything's been affected by radiation, people dying very young, and it's really grim. So, is it worth getting this when you've played the original? I would say it depends. If you're very fond of the original game, I would get this. The graphics are definitely better. The feel of the game is mostly better, but there isn't a heck of a lot that's changed. It's a nice overhaul, like what you might call a good solid mod or modification, but it is still the same game at the end of the day, same enemies and so on. But I played the first game, but if like me you haven't played it for a long time, it doesn't matter because you forget a lot of it. Now, the level design in this game I think is probably better than the second title, Last Light. I'm yet to play the other one, but I will be playing that. But yeah, I think the level design is pretty neat. I think the atmosphere, the variety of AI, like you have these ones that pop out of little burrows, and you've got the winged things, and then there's like the rabid dogs. But yeah, brilliant AI. This game has a lot of cool monsters in it. The one that I hate is the winged thing. What's it called? I forget. But it's like effectively a harpy. Lifts you up in the air and dumps you and kills you most times. But that in itself is no problem. But they've got ridiculous health points. Like it takes, you have to use all your ammo if you want to kill them. Now that does depend on difficulty. I play on regular mode but hardcore. But I haven't played on the top one or on Ranger mode yet because they're very difficult. They're a bit like, if you remember the game Max Payne. I've also reviewed the second Max Payne on this channel, if you look back, and they have a thing called, what was it, New York Minute. Yeah, when you complete the game, you can play it again, but you've got to finish it in an hour or something. And it's really hard. Same goes with that Ranger mode. I think it's be tricky to get, but there's got to be a pretty rare Steam achievement at the end. So it's a good little challenge there, and adds lifespan. If you get the Last Light Redux, there's definitely DLC that's included, whereas on the original game it wasn't. We don't have that here, but like I said, I honestly think the story and level design is better on this one, despite being older. I think it's a bit more gripping than Last Light. Although Last Light, they tend to have gone more for the spectacular. This one, it's more functional, but it also seems to have a lot of creative freedom. As I was saying, the levels are very good. Okay, so with any FPS or first-person shooter, one of the things that's important is the weapons have to sound nice when you shoot them, and the animations that go with the weapons, it's better if they have neat animations that you can enjoy. In that respect, this game delivers pretty well. The weapons are like nicely, it gives you a feel of shooting a kind of rusty, cobbled together gun, which is enjoyable. Same goes with other little details that I already mentioned, like the light and the charging the battery on your light. That's what I like. You know, it's not just a standard FPS. You feel like you're in the subway with the characters and things, especially if you play at night with the lights off and then maybe light some coal tar beside you or something. So, as I've said, touched on, the AI and level design is very good and varied. It's good that they switch it up a bit. I mean, there's sections where you have to do on-rail shooting using a rail car. Don't forget, all of this is in quite confined subways, the game setting. Although, another point that I wanted to make on that is that it's not an open world game. I believe the latest Metro has a lot of more open world elements in it. There is kind of a corridor that you have to conform to, but most FPS games you can't deviate that far. And if you're looking at it and the furthest you get, you'll see something that says you found a secret, which is one of my favorite pieces of text to spot during gaming, because I used to love finding secrets. So in this, it does actually have some levels where there's probably 2, 3, 4 routes through them. You can, a bit like Dishonored, you can actually go stealth or you can go more gung-ho. So the AI are good. The body, animations of the AI, all good. Animations of the guns, all good. The guns do sound and feel very good. Like, you've got loud sort of machine guns, and then the sort of more thudding sounds of a carbine and so on. Weapons and weapon animations done well. AI really cool. They've all got really cool suits. I mean, those are the suits you'd want to wear if you were in this in the subway. They have some kick-ass looking suits. The story is surrounding these sort of alien beings that your character has a somewhat symbiotic relationship with. You know, it's he's kind of like a chosen one, and you get a good sense of that as you go through the game. The story's quite interesting. Definitely better than average, I'd say. Of course, the writer, Dmitry Lukova, would have put more of the story in the book than in the game. Although you can actually read it, because there's books that you can collect through each section that basically are note forms of the book itself. So yeah, this is a really fun game. I mean, if you like FPS and you like adventure, you like a bit of an atmosphere when you're playing, you can't really go wrong here. So honestly, this game is very good. I think it depends. If I'd played the original just like yesterday, I wouldn't be buying this. But because I had played the original quite a long time ago, and I didn't have the story of that fresh in my mind. If you've never played it, then yes, this is the best version to get. And if you're into these kind of games, you can't go wrong there. It's a brilliant game. I think a lot of the small details that are important to make games like this better come from the developers being a very hard-working Ukrainian team who perhaps wouldn't have had the money or the budget to begin with. And just like a drawing that you might do, you can come back to it later and say, wow, I did a really swell job there, you know, because it shows, you know, hard work shows, and it's a good game. I think there's something for everyone there. If you like to play more with grenades, there's plenty of those to throw around. There's throwing knives, get the old ninja star kill. I mean, you like these kind of games, you're gonna love it, to be honest. To score it is tricky, because I'm thinking of, so let's think of it in a way that it's not like I haven't played any of these games before, because I had completed this one twice years back. So, but we'll say if you've never really played it, I think there's probably 1 or 2 things that are lacking that might be in Exodus when I get round to reviewing that. But generally, it's a great game. I've got to give it a 9 out of 10.